Now, NQ, a little bit of a different story, right? Like we didn't even come close to the FOMC day consolidation. And in fact, here, just above this wick here, 22,134 is the single prints from the breakdown on FOMC. So like we haven't even tested in there yet either. And so that's a little bit concerning. This previous lower high, we came up and, we couldn't even get into that wick and we failed. And now we've just kind of looked up just a little bit higher, still not even into those singles. And one thing I will point out, so let's start out like this week of, Sunday the 22nd, Monday the 23rd. We started off down here and we ripped up into the highs. We get a VPOC up near high of week. We get excess high above this VPOC. It's rejected. And then we just sort of gapped to hell, right? So a lot of volume put in here. This was clear distribution. And now we come in this week and we started developing VPOC right around the same area. We've got excess high. We've got a little bit of excess here, 2 excess highs now above this VPOC. We've now rejected that volume to the downside. We're sitting down here trapped. Still I'm a little bit cautious just because of the top heavy nature of this profile and the fact that maybe it's being distributed again at the same spot. It is, still well below, the all-time highs, sweeping this lower high. So it's a little bit iffy to me, certainly compared to ES. And again, we already did test this bull gap during this week. And then we've tested this bull gap. This is an after hours candle. So we've kind of tested the bull gaps. I mean, this actually is not an RTH gap. So this is not technically a proper bull gap here. So below here, cross back down. And then you've got the fact that we've already sort of tested this. So again, some sellers had a chance to get out and cover there. So definitely concerned here. But, this here is sort of close by. So if we do get some kind of a gap down into here that gets trapped below this bull gap, then I think we need to be careful. So I think this is going to be important this week because you can see, again, we gapped it to hell again for the second time, really off the same area of distribution. This was gap. This is gap. This is all hours ETH. And you can see once we opened on Sunday night below that bull gap, we just ended up rugging through those prior gaps that we had that were unfilled that had previously been tested. So we talked about how they've been tested. So trap shorts have had a chance to get out. And that's what makes this a lot more possible. And it came all the way down really to its last line before recovering in the pre-market. ES held, quite a bit higher at a strong spot, and we rallied. And week looked great and it looked constructive. And this is, kind of what concerns me here is that we came right up to that key spot we talked about, that 969 to 976, and sort of just nuked to hell again off that spot. And so, we did end up just like returning to this week's volume point of control, which is fine. Looking at that, like, if you just looked at this and nothing else, it's like, okay, well, that's kind of normal, honestly. Really, you get an excursion late in the week, just pops right back to value. No big deal. But let's pay attention to this fact and the fact that it kind of failed just below those 2 distributed VPOCs. If you're interested in learning more, check us out at PharmDcapital.com. There's a free blog section on there with just a little bit of material that I've put together. There's also a link to access the Discord and a separate link for those just looking for the newsletter, which covers the weekly and daily plans.